You probably know Spider-Man, but you definitely don't know the version of him that slowly poisoned his own wife to death through his radioactive body, and only realized it after she was already gone. Or the one where his greatest enemy stole his entire life and was genuinely better at it. Or the giant T-Rex with web shooters. Because underneath every friendly neighborhood hero moment, Spider-Man has one of the darkest, strangest, most unhinged canons in all of Marvel. And most people have no idea how deep it actually goes. The Mandela effect nobody talks about. Start with something almost everyone gets wrong. Most people believe Spider-Man naturally shoots webs from his wrists. Organic. Built in. Part of the mutation. That's not true. The original Peter Parker invented mechanical web shooters himself. Tiny, wrist-mounted devices he engineered as a teenager in his bedroom. Which makes him significantly smarter than most people realize. He didn't just get bitten and gain powers. He built his own superhero technology from scratch while still in high school. The organic web confusion comes almost entirely from Sam Raimi's films, where Tobey Maguire's wrists open and webs shoot out directly. Once that image hit millions of viewers, it rewired the assumption permanently. Even people who have read the comics sometimes second-guess themselves now. The real Peter Parker was always an engineer first. The spider bite just gave him something to build for. The rejection that almost erased everything. Here's how close Spider-Man came to never existing. In the early 1960s, Marvel's publishers looked at Stan Lee's pitch and said no. Spiders were too disgusting. Teenagers couldn't lead a comic. Heroes weren't supposed to be awkward, broke, and socially destroyed. They were supposed to be clean, adult, and aspirational. Amazing Fantasy 15 only got published because the series was already being canceled anyway. It was essentially a throwaway slot. Nobody expected anything from it. Then readers lost their minds over it. A nervous kid with bad luck, money problems, and a spider costume became Marvel's most beloved character almost overnight. And the publishers who rejected the pitch had to watch it happen in real time. The character that almost didn't exist became the one nobody can replace. Spider-Rex is real and canon. Spider-Ham is a cartoon pig. That part most people know. Spider-Rex is a full-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex with web shooters and a Spider-Man suit. Marvel looked at that concept, considered it seriously, and published it. Yes, canon. Lego Spider-Man exists. Spider-Cat exists. Spider-Monkey exists. At some point, the SpiderVerse stopped having limits and Marvel apparently decided that was fine. The genuinely strange thing is that fans love all of it. The more unhinged the variant, the more attached people get. The Spider-Verse turned complete chaos into one of the franchise's biggest creative strengths. The black suit wasn't Venom, at first. When the black suit appeared during Secret Wars, it wasn't a symbiote with plans. It wasn't alive. Peter just found an alien costume and thought it looked good. That was it. But fans reacted to Dark Spider-Man immediately and intensely. Something about the aggressive silhouette and the absence of color hit differently. Marvel noticed the reaction and started pulling the thread. The suit got stranger, more possessive, more alive. Eventually, it became Venom. One of Spider-Man's most iconic villains grew entirely from a design choice that wasn't originally supposed to mean anything. The aesthetic came first. The monster followed. The giant spider mutation. This one reads like body horror Marvel accidentally greenlit. During the other storyline, Peter Parker doesn't just get sick. He starts physically mutating. His body twists into something that looks nothing like a human being. A giant spider creature. Recognizably wrong, built from the thing that gave him his powers in the first place. For a moment, it looked like a permanent transformation. Then Marvel pushed further. Peter dies, gets sealed inside a massive cocoon, and eventually bursts back out with enhanced abilities. New senses, stronger instincts, upgraded everything. The entire arc feels less like a superhero comic and more like something that should have a content warning. It committed to the horror in a way Spider-Man stories almost never do. The one that killed Mary Jane. This is the fact people still share online like evidence of something that shouldn't exist. In Spider-Man, Reign, set years in the future, an older Peter Parker finally understands why Mary Jane is dead. It wasn't a villain. It wasn't a dramatic sacrifice. His radioactive body slowly poisoned her over years of physical contact. He loved her. That's what killed her. When this comic dropped, the internet didn't debate it. People just sat there processing it. The concept was so specific and so bleak that readers genuinely questioned how it got approved. It still passed around years later as the Spider-Man story that goes somewhere. Nobody asked it to go. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. We warned you, and Marvel still wasn't done. Dr. Octopus stole his entire life. Superior Spider-Man did something the comic should not have been able to recover from. Dr. Octopus swapped minds with Peter Parker. Otto Octavius woke up in Peter's body. Young, healthy, with full access to his powers, his relationships, his identity. Peter Parker died inside Octavius's broken, failing body. Gone. No dramatic last stand. Otto then proceeded to be a genuinely better Spider-Man. More systematic. More aggressive. He built spider surveillance across the entire city. He completed Peter's doctorate. He fought harder and planned smarter. Fans who hated the concept after the first issue were quietly invested by the third. Watching Spider-Man become less human every issue while Otto became more heroic was one of the strangest things Marvel has published. It worked in ways it had no right to work. Don't ask us how. The universes where he completely snapped. The multiverse removes Spider-Man's one unbreakable rule. In Marvel Zombies, Peter Parker eats people, not villains, civilians. The visual of Spider-Man as a flesh-eating monster feels wrong in a way that's hard to describe, because the character is so specifically built around responsibility and restraint that watching him lose both is genuinely unsettling. Then there's Assassin Spider-Man, who operates with guns and targets like a contract killer. Violent Spider-Man. Ruthless Spider-Man. Spider-Man who decided the no-killing rule was someone else's problem. Once you understand the multiverse contains infinite versions of Peter Parker, the question becomes how many of them broke completely, and what it took to get there. The giant robot in Japan. In 1978, Japan produced their own live-action Spider-Man series. This version drove race cars, fought giant monsters, and summoned a massive mech robot called Leopardon to finish battles at scale. No connection to Peter Parker, no radioactive spider, just explosions, screaming, and a gigantic robot piloted by someone wearing a Spider-Man suit. The show's giant mech format directly influenced Super Sentai, which later became the foundation for Power Rangers worldwide. Spider-Man, by existing in Japan in 1978 and going completely off concept, accidentally helped shape an entire global television genre. A giant robot did that. A Spider-Man giant robot. What Spider-Man actually changed? In the 1970s, Marvel published anti-drug Spider-Man comics without approval from the Comics Code Authority, the industry censorship body that controlled what comics were allowed to say. When the comics succeeded anyway, it cracked the authority's power permanently and helped begin dismantling comic censorship over the following years. Real scientists have cited Spider-Man as direct inspiration for wall-climbing research, synthetic adhesive systems, and robotic grip technology. A teenager bitten by a radioactive spider influenced actual engineering. And underneath all of it, the mutations, the radioactive tragedies, the body horror, the giant robot, Marvel keeps returning to the same foundation. Peter Parker loses constantly. His luck is a running disaster. His relationships break. His life resists improvement. That's why the character survives every weird thing Marvel does to him. The unhinged canon works because the human core never actually changes. What's the weirdest Spider-Man fact you know? Drop it below.